And we're live.
We're here. Boy, I was not live for about the last 2 weeks, but I'm a little better today after a doctor's appointment. So it's been since Christmas a pretty much lay around and don't do too much kind of couple of weeks for me.
2025 was a big year.
Well, it must have been, because boy, did it ever pour out of me after New Year's. I've been vertigo and dizziness. So it isn't that the mayor's drinking and falling downtown. No, he's just I'm having a real tough time.
You didn't do
being dizzy. So
you didn't do the 12 bars of Christmas then?
No, I did not. I sure don't need to. I can just I have to really steady myself when I get up out of the chair or out of bed or off from my desk, because it's like a little dizzy. So this too shall pass. But yeah, great. So what else has been up? I know you've been working away at your studio, like incredible. Right?
Yeah, and it's just amazing the amount of help that I've had from the community, different builders and businesses and stuff. And so it's I got with the help of my mom, I got the first coat of varnish on the floor yesterday, and then today she did it because I had to run around and do some shoots. And then
it's nice to have mom's help that close, isn't it?
Incredible, yeah.
And I saw the beautiful wood, all from the farm, all milled
from the wood lot.
You've done a really incredible design with the floor. So
and thankfully, like the people that were like my dad and then Kevin from MD Construction were very patient with me, like organizing the walnut and the ash and the maple and getting it all.
I need a lighter piece over here. I can see you doing it.
Totally. I don't want the joints like at the same spot. They've got to create that pattern, and I did everything on an angle. So 45 D8.
No, you're the artistic one. I would say, okay, do it all in dark and do it now and all the same way, right?
Yeah.
But you've got a pattern going on the floor. But I've seen you fill rooms like that. No one will see the floor once you're done.
Hopefully, my plan is if it's a beautiful floor, I'll want to show it off. That's okay. So this is to help.
You've got a lot of equipment and stuff.
So much stuff. And I can't even get all my stuff in this studio, but I'm hoping to build a larger one later on. But
all right. Well, I guess we should talk about city business wherever we can, because
absolutely.
And it's the first one in this year. Yes.
Yeah, this is it. We're the first year back.
We did a pre-Christmas one. We did a pre-New Year's Eve one, and now we're into 2026. So everybody's how many people have broken their resolutions already?
Yeah.
I didn't really make any. It looks like it's going to be a busy year regardless. So we're going to start it this Saturday at a levee at the market, 9:30 till noon, I think it is.
Yep.
Council, all of the councilors that can be there will be there. I'll be there. Some of our city staff to answer any of your questions face to face. We also have printed off a really beautiful document called Recap of 2025, all the different things that we've done, and a message in there from myself and a message in there from Lisa talking about how we're moving forward. So looking forward to being able to share with everybody at the Horton Market on Saturday morning.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about starting 2026 with a let's look back and let's look forward kind of year. It is a year with a bunch of things in it, with all the construction we're doing and all of the Beehive episodes that I can just picture for the future.
Yeah. Right? So next Beehive is all about what's coming up in 2026, and there's some exciting projects both on the site in Yarmouth Yards and, as you know, externally.
Oh no, there's a lot going on all over town, and so with water reclamation factories and pumping stations and street repairs and the never-ending Fairview and Burwell.
Oh my goodness! And people are asking me, there's like, so Grayden, are you going to get an update on the Fairview Ave project? When is it? When are we going to be able to have that intersection back?
Well, I heard somebody ask today, hey, go on Mayor's Update and ask. Great. I'm willing to tell you. I have no idea. No. We're waiting for some parts. We're waiting for signal lights apparently, and we can't really open up 4 lanes of traffic, meeting 4 lanes of traffic without some sort of traffic control. Who knew that drivers were that bad? It does speak highly to Councillor Herbert, who all along said that should have been a roundabout. We kept saying, well, The corner is just a bit too small to have done a four lanes each way kind of.
That's about what I was going to say, though. If it was a roundabout, you wouldn't have to worry about waiting on traffic lights. It
It
could have
would
been open
already
by
be
now.
open. It would have been open long ago. So yeah, needless to say, many have asked, what was the difficulty? The difficulties were missing these signal lights. They either weren't ordered on time, or the manufacturer for them is delaying in making them. As soon as they're there, we're going to really rush to get the intersection back open. It's been tough for the four corners. It is, as I've shared on here before, it's my way to work most days, and so I've been having to go out and around and look, as we continue to grow, we'll do some major projects, and sometimes when we do them, we get some real surprises as we do them. Like we have already shared with that one that there's an old bridge under the bridge we didn't know about. The putting in a walkway under is the first time we've done that, and taking down. We will now know for the next other bridge we have to take down, because eventually out on Talbot Street, right near there, we'll have to take another overpass down. But it's not at an intersection, so that should make it a little easier to do when the year comes, so we have to do it. But it certainly isn't in the next couple of years. It doesn't look like.
Right, but they will be shutting down Fairview again this year between First and Fairview to work on the water main underneath the road.
Between First, Talbot Street, you mean?
Talbot Street between First and Fairview, yeah.
Right. There will be work along that piece of Talbot Street out front of the Smart Center, out in front of the again this year, to do a water main under the ground. But it appears as though it can be done fairly easily with 2 lanes of traffic always open.
And that was one of the questions: is will you be able to have traffic going back and forth?
It's not a we're not able to do it, right? So
it's like the bat signal, but for the mayor. This is the mayor.
Hey, the mayor's phone goes off whether he's on mayor's update or not. It was a 1-800 number, so I've sent it to voicemail to let's see who it is.
Oh, exciting!
Yes,
I'm sure you're going to have some great offers on that call.
It's likely a survey that that someone's looking for. But
maybe it's the CRA.
It could easily be them too, because now that tax bill from 2021 still isn't paid. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And it's the sheriff that's calling you, no doubt.
Oh, of course. Yes. No, or your parking tickets are due from the provincial government. I don't know who they are.
That's right.
I can't see questions, so we should ask them. Are there any?
Yeah. We've got some nice comments coming in. Margaret says, "Nice flooring." Thank you, Margaret. I'm very, very proud of the flooring. I've been showing people pictures of my flooring. Very excited about it. And then Sharon Montgomery Anderson saying, she made a resolution years ago to never make another resolution. I totally understand that. And Margaret Knight says she's given up making resolutions.
Well, I thought of making a resolution to procrastinate.
And I
haven't got around to making it yet. So,
nice.
See how 2026 goes.
All right, we've got some more events coming up here. I'm just going to quickly go through.
Go ahead. You've got the list, and I'll throw in too.
We've got an open chess night on Monday, January 12th at the St. Thomas Public Library. And if you hadn't made like the board game nights and the game nights that they're running there, you have to do it. It's absolutely phenomenal. St. Thomas Sports Spectacular is coming up fast. That's January 22nd, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. The St. Anne Center. And just an incredible lineup of guests. Check out their page for all the details on that. Spilling the Tea, presented by the Family and Children's Services of St. Thomas and Elgin, is Friday, January 30th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Queso Station. And it's a full wellness day with community experts and allies. Then you've got the Run Club at Caps Off, Thursday, January 8th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. And that's another great community event where they go for a little jog and they come back for a brew or sometimes.
Regardless of weather. And it's really quite a neat combination of great friends who come every Thursday night in the hottest days of the year and the snowiest days of the year, and have a quick run around our city, and then come back and maybe have a beverage to cool off.
And we've got Laughing Stock, which is February 26th, March to March 8th at the Princess Ave Playhouse. So that one's a shout out to Timothy Hedden, who mentions that almost every week on the mayor's update. Well, that's great.
Let's get him to fill the place this time.
Yeah.
And we know that Dennis Kowalczyk is also having an event there, and I'm not sure of the date and time on it because again, I don't have my list with me today.
It's going to be here somewhere. I'll get down to that one. I'm just
Yeah.
going to run through the pitch. Also coming up fast. That's Elgin Business Resource Center's awards. It's free.
Yes, and I saw some of the people who are pitching. Right?
Yeah,
right?
a great
there's a
lineup
out of the bullpen, and there's a couple starting pitchers. Okay, to use yeah. Sorry, it's all I got. Yeah.
And that's February 4th, 6 p.m. at the St. Anne's Center. Tickets are still available, but it's a free event and, great community event. St. Thomas Stars Hockey is Friday, January 9th at the Joe Community Center, Joe Thornton Community Center. Tickets available. Paddle Against Alzheimer's, a charity pickleball tournament, Saturday, January 17th.
And I have one on here that's a sing-along with the Beatles for the hospice.
Oh, right on.
Find it. I cannot find it on here, but I'm sure someone else might be able to tell us when it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the list here, but if you go to their Facebook page or their website, I'm sure all the details for
to the hospice website. It sounded like a fun sit there and sing along kind of. It's at Knox Church. I know that, but I cannot find the email somebody sent me today about when it is, and so I'll keep hunting, but we'll see if we can get it before we leave.
All right. And then we've got on January 18th, there's a mixed co-ed doubles reach out to the courthouse for details and registration, that's the charity pickleball tournament for the Alzheimer's. Paws, Pizza, and Presents. We've talked about this. This is the Myrtle Animal Rescue and Sanctuary fundraiser, Saturday, January 17th, 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's at Elgin Harvest. Tickets are still available.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Those are all the ones we haven't mentioned yet. And then there's a whole list of other ones, but if we've got time, we'll get into those. But yeah, we should say, there's the tacos and tequila, January 23rd. I think they've 75 tickets sold. And there's only 25 left. So if you want to get in on that,
you better get in soon.
Get your tickets.
Yes. We have a council meeting coming up Monday night. It is the only council meeting in the month of January, so it makes it a fairly full agenda. The agenda truly won't be out till tomorrow, but there's also a public meeting that night too. So I expect that we're going to earn our keep in the one meeting of January to get as much done as we can in that one. We of course could have other meetings in January if there's the need and the chair calls it. We'll make it happen, but a lot of people spending some time away, and so we thought we'd consolidate everything onto the one Monday in January, the 12th, and see what we get. But there's some great conversations coming up.
And what are some of the things that are on the
talk about next Tuesday is what I'm trying to say.
What are some of the big topics that you're going to be talking about?
Well, I think the Parks and Rec master plan is in its final stages and may be coming to council if it's coming Monday, and it will also have in it what the committee's work on the recreation center that's been going on. I don't know how much detail that will go to. We're working on a couple of other affordable housing projects, and we may talk some more about where and when we can start our next project. It's funny, we're talking about starting the next one, and we're just really at the beginning of Balaclava, and the Eastwood project is really nearing its completion. So we like to keep one more going just so that we can continue to work on the affordability side once we pass the supportive housing needs for homeless in our community.
And that's one, I saw some comments online. People were wondering if the Balaclava project was still moving ahead because they hadn't seen any external activity.
Yeah, look at it. It's an old school being turned into apartments. So inside there was a lot of ripping out to design where the new building on the back will attach, where a elevator shaft can go on the outside at the back, and then of course, as we're finding with everything, there's a fair bit of building going on from a commercial point of view. I know Indwell probably has 8 or 9 other buildings in various stages. And so contractors to do buildings like that are maybe not as ready as we'd like, and we'd like them to get going on Balaclava because we know what those 78 units will do for removing a great piece of homelessness here in St. Thomas.
Yeah, it's going to be so beneficial to the community once those are up and running. And then, as we've talked about before, the city is working on pathways out of homelessness, and that will allow people that are at the inn or in other places to transition over to that location
Well,
there, which will
exactly.
open up beds.
That's what the intent is, and part of the other pathways out of homelessness is also people who are, struggling almost month to month now with their
Mm.
own housing. And what can we do? How do we keep people safe and housed that way too? And so our housing people are sharing some of that information with us also as part of this. These all have great amounts of initials.
Mhm.
Kochi, Coochie, a bunch of other things. And so this one is a housing initiative.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And the rest of it, I'll wait for the
Mhm.
agenda for tomorrow. I know I've been asked a couple questions about cemeteries.
Yes, me as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
so the Cemetery Corporation in our community is a charitable organization that runs a couple of cemeteries, one in St. Thomas and another one in Central Elgin.
Mhm.
For the whole time I've been the mayor, we have donated at least a $50,000 a year grant to them as a way of keeping them solvent, if you
Mhm.
will. Some years a little more. Central Elgin over the last few years has not contributed to the organization. The cemetery board says they're in pardon the pun, a grave situation, right,
Mhm.
of funding, and may have to ask for a decommissioning, if you will, of the cemeteries. That's a request of a superior court judge to say we we need to get out of this.
And
Our
what
parks,
happens if it's
well,
decommissioned? What happens?
let's wait. We don't know exactly. We know they can get out
Mhm.
of it, but the city is likely going to have to then pick up the costs of doing it. The problem with cemeteries, or in this case, there are cemeteries that are doing
Mhm.
just perfectly fine, that have put enough money away to pay for their future expenses and to also continue to sell plots and that type of thing.
Yep.
Apparently, we're not quite at that point, so we've got to
Mhm.
find a way to either, they are a charity. They can be doing fundraising too, and I'm not sure
Mhm.
I've seen any fundraising out of that group either. And so we're going to have to talk about it as a city before we take over the responsibility of it. Is there a way to keep it whole the way it is
Mhm.
and move it forward? So a lot of conversation happening at the moment,
Mhm.
and we'll be able to come to a conclusion with that board, um,
Mhm.
and what might happen to get through this year, what might happen with Central Elgin, and how we can work together for it to happen, or going forward, it can go as far as being, if you will, decommissioned.
And that's one of the questions I saw as well, because one of the cemeteries is in Central Elgin. So if it gets decommissioned, then I would assume that would move over into to be their responsibility. Is that correct?
Well, right now the whole piece is the cemetery in St. Thomas and the cemetery in Central Elgin is under the St. Thomas Cemetery Corporation, the
Mhm.
charity that runs it. Um, so I'm certain you're absolutely right. If it becomes full responsibility of municipalities, and we've been asking these questions on a lot of cases. We talked a
Mhm.
bit about conservation authorities and said to the province, fill us in on what it is you're trying to do, but does this mean you're taking on more financial responsibility?
Right.
If the cemetery board petitions the province to decommission, then does that mean the province takes on some of the financial obligations too, or is it only the obligation of the municipalities? Um,
Mhm.
we think that mostly it's the latter, but we're asking to say, well, then if this continues to occur and
Yeah.
other municipalities have had to take on responsibility, you're the level of government responsible for us.
Mhm.
So how are you helping? And we've done pretty good at working together with the other levels of government. So we'll continue to ask them what is likely hard questions on their part too. But um, we know what we got to do. We've got to work together with all the groups that we can to solve the problems. It's not a throw your hands up in the air situation. It's a what is the best step we can do.
Absolutely, because it's not something you can like. When I think that's where people get concerned when they hear that it's going to be abandoned. Basically, they're like, "Wait, what does that mean? Does that mean like the plot where my like grandparents or my parents are is going to be abandoned and not taken care of?" And
Right.
that's not the case, in my understanding.
No, no, and if indeed there's financial hardship right now, perhaps we have not been charging as much as we needed to
Hmm.
in order to have that funds pool of funds that helps pay future bills.
Yeah.
We need to all work together to find out how we can do this best. And is there a role the city and and our parks department or our works department can play helping? Is there um, other ways to fundraise because it is a
Hmm.
charitable organization? So people could be donating to that charity as a way to help fund it too. So
Right.
we're
I
going
know
to
that like
get together on all of it.
my mother's on the cemetery board for the Quaker cemetery in Sparta, but a
Yes.
lot of that is all volunteer run, like
No,
the
agreed. And
maintenance and the
most
board and
small
everything. Yeah.
church subs, most small church-run cemeteries. I remember as a youth having to cut the grass at the cemetery at the Dewart Church because Grandpa
Yeah.
had the responsibility, the volunteer
Yeah.
responsibility of making that happen. So the small ones like that are, as a
Mhm.
plot is sold, it goes into a fund that helps maintain it. But most of the work in small cemeteries is done by a volunteer who lives nearby, much like our Snow Angels program, but it's
Yes.
more take care of the cemetery. And there's
Mhm.
usually a local excavator person who will dig a grave for us, that type of thing.
Yep.
So look, there's lots of conversation that can take place, but we're trying to put it all together and say what's the best steps for us to take as a city.
Mhm. And Mark McKnight's saying, "Isn't West Ave Cemetery a city cemetery?"
Well, it's part of the St. Thomas Cemetery Board,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't mean the city owns it. It's not our property. It's part of that charitable board that has had a board forever and has been collecting money forever. That is supposed to have a trust fund together that would help pay to cut grass and do repairs and the stuff that has to happen. What we're
Mhm.
finding across Ontario, and it's not just here, but across
No.
Ontario, there's some cemeteries that have just um, didn't predict well enough into the future as to how much funds it would take to keep those things going.
Yeah.
So well,
And
every year,
costs have gone up so much unpredictable. Like, since COVID or during COVID, costs started to skyrocket for a lot of things that are unpredictable. So
but
it
this is we've
yeah.
been donating over $50,000 to the St. Thomas Cemetery Board from our city in our grant program every year I've been mayor. So it's I mean, here's 50,000 to help you get through, and every year we go, okay, but then what are we doing to stop that? It's the same
Mhm.
as some of the other organizations that we give very large grants to every year. We'd really like to know, is there something else that you can be doing? Now, the cemetery is not a business, although
Mhm.
it has to operate like one so that it can protect what it has into the
Yeah.
future. But if you take the senior center as another example of a city funded
Love the senior
place,
center. Yeah.
right? Well, but it has ways of upping its own fundraising,
Mhm.
of doing what it needs to do. And the same thing with the teen center and the art center, which are all parts of very large grants from the city each year. So this year we're spending some time asking the boards of each of the four large grant organizations to say, hey, what are you doing?
Mhm.
How is it just staying the same? Is there a way we can get this better? Is there a way we can better fundraise? Is there a way we can lower expenses? Or is there a way we can work together as a
Mm.
city organization to help you cover some of your costs? So we're asking the right questions because this year's budget, we noticed it in there that this would be
Mm.
something would be really good if we could solve. So,
Very good. And in terms of budget and lowering costs, I saw a video with you on social media about the pool this week, with you talking to a front desk service person at
right.
the
Well,
YMCA.
we've been over to the YMCA, and so have a lot of people from St.
Yeah.
Thomas. And I think you shared with me that Central Elgin's now also going in
Mhm.
on helping subsidize
I
the
love it.
Y's pool cost for the citizens of Central Elgin, as we're doing with St. Thomas. And apparently, it's quite a good uptake, and we'll cover that in the 2025 recap of St. Thomas citizens who don't want to buy a whole membership at the Y because they're
No.
not truly interested in the weight rooms and some of the other things. So they can get just a swimming pass at a pretty reduced rate. It's certainly around the same cost as it would cost you to use a pool in another community. Pools aren't free, so even if we do
No.
decide to build our own, the cost of using it will be pretty similar to what it's costing right now at the Y.
Yeah, and I saw the cost for like a one-person membership for like full access for a month is around $100,
Right.
which is incredible because there's a gym there. There's a sauna, there's a
Look,
hot tub,
look,
there's a pool.
and this is an also not-for-profit organization that
Yeah.
the city would not like to step on, in the
Mhm.
sense that they've been there, they've been doing great work in our community and providing great recreational facilities for a long time. We don't ever want to be in competition with somebody who's been doing that too. So we got to find a way. Can we help people use their facilities? If indeed
Mhm.
we discover we have to have a facility and we know what the cost of that is, then we will set that forward and go forward. And and then work together with our working partners like the YMCA on how that would work.
Mhm. And the prices. So I pulled out the prices here. If you're like ages 15 and under, $4 per swim.
Right.
Wow.
Now, and you can buy a group pass that makes it even cheaper than that,
Oh,
like
wow.
a multiple pass.
Huh. That's
It's my
incredible.
understanding. So
And if you're 16 and over, it's $5 per. So I can go in and
$5,
swim for $5.
right.
That's
And that
that's like that's incredible.
covers family swims,
Mhm.
aquafit, swimming lessons.
Yep.
I mean, the things you would be using a city operated facility for, like our
Mhm.
JC pools collects you for you to come do aquafit in that pool or to do
Yeah.
swimming lessons in that pool. It's a summer pool, so we don't honor the Y exchange of funds in the months that the JC pool is open.
Mhm.
Instead of us giving a decreased rate for someone to go to the Y pool, we say
Right.
come to the JC pool. But once it's closed again in the fall, we start again helping with the costs of swimming at the Y.
Yeah, and your 10 swim pass is $35. So say you have a family of 5, you can go and swim for about like
Well,
7.
that's 350 a
Yeah,
10 swim for $35. So it's 350 a time when
per
you buy
person.
them in bulk and you know you're going to go swimming, say every Tuesday night or something. You can do that, and you're well prepared to do it. Um, Not a bad way to go with your family. So you either buy in bulk so that more can go at once, or so that
Mhm.
it's a cheaper amount to go. So
Yep. And speaking of good prices, we've got another one. I was at the Home Builders monthly networking event and talk. And I talked to Brandon Collier from Collier Homes. And as we've talked about, they're building the new townhomes in Shaw Valley. And these are really
right.
special units because they've got the ARU units, or the additional rental units built within the homes. You have the home
Right.
plus an additional
They're
rental unit.
ready to develop immediately. So a couple of choices we've seen from those, and
Mhm.
Brendan and Russell from McPherson
McPherson.
have gone
Yeah.
together on this, and they and hope to build 30 or 40 of these. But
Mhm.
you may be in the case you could be a homeowner and already have an apartment you could rent out the basement in the apartment,
And here's
or
the price.
right,
You're
and you know right away
starting
what
at
home builders.
680,000.
Yeah,
And
well,
and you can rent right out of the gate. So that is lower than what
right,
people are expecting. They were expecting to start about 750,000. So it's
right. Yeah.
680,000
Well, if you already know you can rent out one whole room, right?
Mhm.
One whole finished
Apartment.
level basement, whole apartment, right? And so that's maybe another entry step to first home, right? So
Yep.
we keep trying to find ways to do this as least expensive as possible. We're happy to have developers like Brendan and Russell doing this work with
Mhm.
us. Sorry, that's Collier Homes and McPherson's Builders. I guess I
Yeah.
should use the real trade name so people know who to
Yeah.
call. And you know how much work Doug Terry's been doing on doing
Mhm.
things like Tiny Hope
Yeah.
and
Drove by
some of
that
the other
today.
growth we can do. Right.
The development on that is incredible. I can see all the places really popping up now at Tiny Hope.
Yeah. And when you see the recap of 2025, I was just reading it out in the living room before I came in here to do this.
Yeah.
Um, and there's some really neat news on how much housing we did that was single family homes, how
Mhm.
much housing that was townhomes or stacked townhomes, how much was apartments, how much was whatever else it could be. And we're really kind of changing the face because of the cost of building. I think we're going to see higher density, like more townhomes and stuff. So you can put 20
Mhm.
homes on a spot that used to be 10, right?
Yeah. Which
Right
that's
way to go. If that's what we can do to make housing affordable in our community as we attract good paying jobs where people can afford to pay these rents or buy these homes.
Mhm. A question from Will Zufelt. He's saying, Joe, can you explain the reasoning why the city is no longer collecting recycling for business. This is a provincial decision, and the city's decision and the province is not the city's decision for this change.
Well, it's not ours. It was never us collecting it. Maybe a better way to put it. As I said, there may have been some small businesses putting a blue box out at the road, and the collectors came by and picked it. But in recycling in apartments and larger businesses, and businesses like mine, I have to have my own dumpster. I have to have my own cardboard container. I have to, we've paid that forever, and that's the cost of where the tax rate is on commercial and industrial. So the change is the province has now taken it over completely. So the city's not responsible at all for picking up recycling. As we shared last week, there's a number of new things that can now go in the bins, and a whole new company that will supply you with a blue bin without you charging you for it, or a gray bin without charging you for it. And some of the changes are now who's covered compared to who used to maybe be covered. So there is a few that are now not. But again, not a city decision. We didn't say no to it. We think it's great when somebody else wants to take over the expenses of doing recycling for us. Right. And the province has been working on this all the way back through the environment minister for a decade, trying to get to the people who are producing or selling the products that are causing the recycling to pay into a fund that helps cover the collection of those recycling items, and also the turning them into other products.
Got a question from Margaret asking about, if the homes are going to cost this much, what would an apartment be? And their estimate was between probably $1,000 to $1,500 per apartment, but it's really up to the homeowner.
The homeowners. I mean, somebody's buying the home, he gets to charge what he wants for it, or it can be his own teens living down there, or a mother-in-law living there. It's got a number of things it can be, but this is not where we get involved in the pricing part. People who build the houses and have to pay for the materials and the labor to build the houses get to set the prices.
Yeah. And another question that came in was about, is this just going to be something that investors are going to all buy up right away? And the answer to that is that you can't really stop people from buying.
Fine. If somebody wants to buy a property to rent it out, that creates the same amount of housing as if someone had bought the home to live in. And so we need a good mix of all of this across our community and across Ontario, right? As we create great new jobs and create a higher level of population in Southern Ontario, we'll take any form of housing that helps fit that bill, whether it's rental first, as someone moves on to first home, then mortgage onto second home, sell and move up, or any of the types of pieces. Like Stephanie and I did, we moved out of a 4-bedroom home and moved into a 2-bedroom apartment at Alma College first, and now we bought the condo here across from the market, or across from the mall. But we just keep downsizing. I mean, I think Stephanie has in her mind that now that it's January, it's spring, because she did a bunch more spring cleaning today, because we keep minimalizing and saying we don't need this much stuff, and so a 2-bedroom is just fine for us and the puppies. But but we're not telling anybody that's what's fine for you. Please, make your own decisions. The large house, a half of a large house, a 2-bedroom apartment or condo, those types of things. We're going to try and give you as much variety as we can to choose from across the city, and we're going to try and keep price point as low as we can on the things we can affect, development charges, taxes, those types of things.
Yeah, and it'll be exciting too, because I'm working on, as you know, putting together a talk about that in terms of how we can, within our own municipality, lower the cost of housing, or if there's anything we can do or advocate for that will help to lower it. So people, stay tuned for that. We're at the end of our time here.
Oh, wow, that was fast tonight.
Yeah. We had a quick question on
that. You have flooring you have to go back to, or do you?
No, tomorrow morning will be the flooring, and then I've got to do some more shooting. I've got a bunch of headshots to shoot tomorrow, and then another beehive, and I've
got a couple of meetings tomorrow that because this week has already been. Could we remove that one? Could we get rid of right? So I've got some things I have to do tomorrow now that have to do with me being slack for the last 10 days, it
So
seems
now
like.
you have to catch up on just drink a lot of
Oh,
coffee, you know?
well, I have to be careful. I want to stay well, so I will move at a pretty good speed while we get through the one January meeting, and then and I've had requests for a pile of meetings, so my calendar continues to get fuller and fuller of people who want to come talk to us about what we've done with housing or homelessness. Come talk to us about a number of people who are saying they'd maybe like to run in the next election. Could I come talk to you? Those types of
Yeah.
conversations. Other mentoring conversations, right? I know that Andrew Gunn and I have a conversation coming up this week about some great new posters he and the Young and Free Press have done and some other things. And I know we'll see them at the Mayor's Levy at the market also on Saturday.
Very good.
So bring your tough questions there too. There's other councilors there. I'll just defer them over. Here, talk to Clark instead. Here, talk to.
Yeah.
We hope to all be there and some great chance to talk about our city.
And make sure to tune in next week when we are able to dive deep into all the council decisions that were made on the Monday preceding that.
Certainly. Right.
It's gonna be packed.
Days in a row of activity of council.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll see you when I can.
Take care, everybody. Thanks again, Mayor Joe. Cheers. Have a good night.